Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post, publisher of more than 1,000 comic books and marketing expert covering the Bud Light controversy. Bud Light is in a total crisis. They've jeopardized a $4.8 billion brand by focusing on woke advertising. Let's get into this major article from the Wall Street Journal. I'm going to cover some additional details from it, give you some additional analysis, but it's actually a great summary, and it's also got some new information, such as Bud Light is now, of course, buying back unsold beer from their beer distributors. They have to do that, even if it's not part of their contract, because otherwise the beer distributors would be stuck with inventory they can't sell and they'll be forced to go bankrupt. Not so good for selling them more beer in the future. Let's get into this article. Before we do, please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up. Really appreciate you guys. How Bud Light blew it. With one blunder after another, the brewing giant behind the brand became a case study in how not to handle a culture war storm. Budweiser's famous Clydesdale horses still live in St. Louis, Missouri, where its brewer Anheuser-Busch has been making beer since the 1850s. Visitors can tour the flagship brewery to check out a vintage delivery truck and pick up a Budweiser Eagle t-shirt at the gift shop. The company's marketing hub is about 950 miles away in a sleek building in Manhattan's Chelsea neighborhood. Employees can brainstorm in the break room while helping themselves to beer on tap or take a drink up to the roof and just chill out. These two sides of the Budweiser empire collided in spectacular fashion in March when Bud Light's marketers arranged for a personalized can of Bud Light to be sent to a transgender social media star, Dylan Mulvaney. The promotion and its aftermath made the brewer an object lesson in how not to handle a culture war storm. Alyssa Heinerschied, the first woman in Bud Light's 4-decade history to run its marketing, and at this point, maybe the last, had devised a strategy to combat the beer's long-standing declining sales by appealing to a wider swath of customers, including more women and younger adults. Parent company Anheuser-Busch InBev embraced the plan and pledged to increase its U.S. marketing spend on Bud Light fivefold after sharply cutting it during the pandemic. Then, a promotion with transgender influencer Dylan Mulvaney prompted a boycott. This was not the first time Anheuser-Busch's brand had supported transgender rights in a marketing effort. In 2021, Michelob Ultra featured a transgender track star, Cece Telfer, in an ad campaign supporting gender equality in sports. Last year, Bud Light Canada released a limited edition can for Pride Month, displaying pronouns such as she, he, and they. Celebrate everyone's identity, the can said. But senior executives claimed they were caught off guard by the Mulvaney promotion and the personalized beer can. Anheuser-Busch leaders were uncomfortable with a marketing initiative that thrust one of its biggest brands into the middle of a divisive political issue, according to people familiar with the matter. The company's response, of course, made it worse. Anheuser-Busch stayed mostly silent for 2 weeks, then released a general statement about bringing people together, prompting criticism from all sides for both waiting too long to respond and also not taking a clearer stand. When the furor continued, the company placed Heinerschied and her boss Daniel Blake on leave. Heinerschied was replaced in the role of head marketer for Bud Light by a seasoned beer executive, and Blake's role was eliminated to give senior marketers closer oversight on brand decisions. Heinerschied and Blake remain on leave. Anheuser-Busch declined to comment on their future at the company, citing the executive's privacy and safety. The result angered pretty much everyone: core Bud Light consumers, supporters, and opponents of transgender rights, wholesalers, retailers, bar owners, and company staff. Anheuser-Busch employees shared concerns with one another about the personnel changes and about the company's silence as Heinerschied came under personal attack. Quote, "It just feels like I worked for a company that caved," one employee told the Wall Street Journal. By the first week of May, Bud Light sales volume was down about 28% compared with the same period last year in U.S. retail stores, according to analysis of Nielsen data by consulting firm Bump Williams. It was a rare case of a politically inspired product boycott actually working. The company now plans for the first time to include Bud Light in the brewer's longtime running sponsorship of a veterans organization, wholesalers said. Bud Light is also leaning back into television commercials on themes like football and country music. The brewer recently told its wholesalers that it would buy back unsold cases of beer that have gone past their expiration date. They've also been making cash payments to individual bar owners, waitresses, and waiters, the beer distributors, as well as sales reps. Everyone's getting cash from the parent company right now because they're all upset and they're taking a lot of heat and they're not selling any beer. Quote, in the current environment in the social media landscape, you know that consumer brands in different situations might be pulled into the discussion. Bud Light, the #1 selling beer brand in the U.S., has been struggling for years with falling sales volume as consumers shifted to craft beers, hard seltzer, and canned cocktails. But at the same time, they've also cut their marketing back dramatically over the last few years, really to the point of ridiculous. They were trying to purge out their existing customers to get new customers, even though they won't admit that. The brand hoped to pull off a tricky feat, bringing in new groups of drinkers without alienating its core customers. Bud Light's market share is particularly high in rural and conservative parts of the country, and its drinkers are predominantly male. Before joining Anheuser-Busch, Heinerscheid, 39 years old, had done stints at General Mills and Johnson & Johnson. Soon after her promotion to lead Bud Light in June 2022, she was named to Ad Age's magazine's 40 Under 40 list of top marketers. She was blunt about her mandate. In a podcast interview released in March, Heinerscheid said, quote, I had a really clear job to do when I took over Bud Light. It was this brand is in decline. It's been in decline for a really long time. And if we do not attract young drinkers to come and drink this brand, there will be no future for Bud Light. Her efforts seem to be working. Wholesalers said they were thrilled at a meeting in January in Anaheim, California, where Heinerscheid and Blake unveiled a new marketing campaign for Bud Light and screened the company's planned Super Bowl ads with the slogan, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. After the Super Bowl ads aired, Bud Light sales volume decline slowed, though they didn't turn around entirely. The trouble began this year when the brand enlisted several social media influencers, including Mulvaney, to create buzz for a Bud Light contest during the March Madness college basketball tournament. Around the same time, the brand sent Mulvaney a personalized Bud Light can with their face on it as a gift to mark their anniversary of their gender transition. Personalized cans such as this one are made from Anheuser-Busch by an outside vendor, which creates a custom plastic wrap to go around a regular beer can, according to wholesalers and other people familiar with that matter. I did some research on this as well. It's very easy to get a can like this made. It's also very inexpensive, less than $100. Mulvaney showed an image of the can on April 1st in a sponsored Instagram post about the March Madness contest. Mulvaney showed an image of the can on April 1st in a sponsored Instagram post about the March Madness contest. They called the can possibly the best gift ever. Mulvaney had been documenting their gender transition over the past year on TikTok and Instagram. Their following on social media had grown over the year, and so had criticism of them from some conservative commentators. They have over 10 million followers on TikTok and 1.8 million on Instagram. Like many other social media stars, Mulvaney has turned their platform into a business by creating sponsor posts for a range of brands. In one, Mulvaney wore a Nike sports bra. In another, Mulvaney did a live stream sponsored by Walmart and Native, a deodorant and skincare line. They also did a sponsored Bud Light post in February that attracted little negative attention at the time. The single personalized can made for Mulvaney was not available for sale. Yet, as the backlash picked up, many people, including bar and store owners, wrongly believed that Mulvaney's video was a television commercial or that the can with their picture on it was available in stores. It wasn't made clear by the company. It's always the company's responsibility to communicate what they're doing with their marketing and their brand, particularly to their direct customers. The musician Kid Rock posted a video on Twitter in which he shot cases of Bud Light with a semi-automatic rifle. Country singer Travis Tritt said he would stop including Bud Light in his tour rider. Critics of the beer's association with Mulvaney then turned their attention to Heinerscheid. They pointed to comments in her March podcast interview that they said insulted Bud Light drinkers. I mean, absolutely did. Heinerscheid had described previous Bud Light campaigns as having been fratty, sort of out-of-touch humor. Those words touched a nerve. Calling her a hypocrite, the Daily Mail published old college photos from her Facebook page showing her drinking and getting completely nuts at a Harvard party. Anheuser-Busch stayed quiet and hoped that the boycott would blow over. Anheuser-Busch works with 385 independent distributors or wholesalers across the country. So these distributors are independently owned, they're private businesses, they are not owned by the parent company. Many of them are family-owned businesses that have carried Anheuser-Busch products for generations. The move of the company's sales and marketing hub from St. Louis to New York in 2015, several years after Anheuser-Busch was acquired by global giant InBev, has been a point of contention. Look at this, it only took a few years since 2015 for them to destroy the brand. Some wholesalers have pushed the brewer to move those marketers back to St. Louis, arguing that executives in New York are out of touch with the drinkers of the company's flagship brands. You don't need much more evidence than this. That's probably a good solution. They were right all along. Anheuser-Busch has marketers based in St. Louis, Austin, Miami, and Los Angeles. The wholesaler's employees, many driving trucks bearing the Bud Light logo, were soon confronted by angry people on streets, in stores, and in bars. There were bomb threats at several Anheuser-Busch facilities and wholesaler locations. The Los Angeles Police Department dispatched a bomb squad to conduct a sweep of a Los Angeles brewery. Transgender issues have moved to the center of conservative social agendas in recent years. But of course, it is the absolute center of the progressive socialist agenda to be pushing transgender issues. Conservatives are pushing back on the encroachment of the transgender movement in every aspect of life, from schools to media to now products on the store shelves. Legislators, mostly in or from Republican majority states, have proposed laws aimed at curbing gender-related health care and surgeries for children, restricting transgender athletes' sports play in their non-biological teams, and banning books that promote transgenderism and sexual situations to children in schools. Bud Light for decades has sponsored LGBT rights groups and pride events. Anheuser-Busch InBev says it also has worked to cultivate an inclusive workspace for LGBT employees in its offices around the world. On April 14th, 2 weeks after Mulvaney's post, the company posted a written statement on its website and on Twitter from Brennan Whitworth, the chief of Anheuser-Busch's North American business. It didn't mention Mulvaney or the personalized can. Quote, "We never intended to be part of a discussion that divides people," Whitworth said in a statement. "We are in the business of bringing people together over a beer." A lot of people find it interesting that he also used to be a CIA recruiter, this Whitworth guy. Exactly what that means, I don't know. It's just an unusual coincidence. In a May 4th interview with the Journal, Ducaris, the CEO, said the Bud Light brand marketing team had made the decision to enlist Mulvaney as an influencer. He declined to say whether that had been a mistake. But, I mean, obviously that was a mistake. Pretty fair to say that everyone on the internet is interested in Bud Light being destroyed. It was a multi-billion-dollar brand. They have to buy back unsold beer from their distributors. People who are seen on the street with Bud Light are sometimes attacked by people. Yes, it was definitely a mistake. The CEO has to go if he can't at least admit it was a mistake. Quote, "While beer will always be at the table when important topics are debated, the beer itself should not be the focus of the debate," he told analysts on a conference call the same day. You know, that's all fine and good, but when you destroy the association of the brand and you insult your customers, what do you think's going to happen? I mean, he's the CEO. He's the one that's supposed to be saying the beer isn't supposed to be the point of discussion. The analysts are supposed to criticize him for what he did. Bud Light sales began dropping in the first week of April and kept falling for weeks and continued to fall. The boycott has even hurt other Anheuser-Busch beers too, including Budweiser, Michelob Ultra, and Busch Light. Sales volumes for rivals Coors Light and Miller Lite in the first week of May were up 16 and 17% respectively, according to Bump Williams, the consultant. So as Bud Light loses sales and Anheuser-Busch's other brand lose sales, their competitors are picking up their lost sales, a permanent hard substitution. The company named a replacement for Heinerscheid in the Bud Light role. Todd Allen, formerly the vice president of global marketing for Budweiser, at least he has experience. When Qatari officials changed their minds about selling alcohol around stadiums in this year's World Cup, Allen was part of a team of Anheuser-Busch executives who ripped up much of the plan they'd been working on for years and wrote a new one in days, capitalizing on the media attention the alcohol ban generated. Some wholesalers cheered the staffing moves. Del Papa Distributing, a wholesaler outside of Houston, posted a statement on Facebook trying to clarify the misunderstandings about Mulvaney's post. The distributors, this is a sad thing, these are independent businesses. Sure, the unsold beer is now getting bought back by Bud Light, which was guaranteed that was going to happen. It shouldn't even really be news, but it's news. But it's still destroying their businesses. There are other distributors that are sending out radio commercials and making announcements publicly saying, hey, please try Bud Light again. It was only one can. It wasn't even a big advertising promotion. It's not working. It's a complete unmitigated disaster. I don't know how they're going to fix it. I don't think they're going to be able to fix it. If you think they can fix it, or you know how to fix it, Let me know in the comments below. Would love to see what you have to say. Okay, from this one distributor's Facebook post, quote, "The unfortunate reality that it happened without higher level approval exposed a concerning lack of oversight for brand marketing decisions. That lack of oversight has been addressed. On April 24th, Whitworth, the chief of Anheuser-Busch's North American business, met with a group of its distributors in Washington, D.C. He told them that he hadn't known about Mulvaney's post or the personalized can until someone sent him a text message shortly after the backlash erupted. The brewer promised to triple its planned U.S. marketing spending on Bud Light this summer and boost spending on other brands as well. The company said it would give a $500 bonus to truck drivers, delivery people, sales representatives, and employees of the independent wholesalers as an acknowledgement that many of them had been confronted or threatened by angry customers and critics of the promotion. That $500 is not going to go a very long way. Anheuser-Busch also sent wholesalers a letter they could share with retailers to address misperceptions about Mulvaney's post. It noted that the personalized can was one single can given to one social media influencer and not an advertising campaign. Mulvaney is an actor and singer who lives in Los Angeles who previously performed in a national tour of the Broadway musical The Book of Mormon. Here's the turnaround plan. Anheuser-Busch continues to receive blows from all sides. 2 Republican senators have called for an investigation into Anheuser-Busch's partnership with Mulvaney, alleging that the influencer's social media followers include many people under the legal drinking age. And that's absolutely true. The company said it follows industry guidelines for ensuring that its marketing reaches adults and that Mulvaney's Instagram account met them. That is going to be an interesting investigation because, no, I really don't believe it met them. The Human Rights Campaign, an LGBT rights organization, said Anheuser-Busch had showed a profound lack of fortitude and should have stood in solidarity with Mulvaney as people attacked Mulvaney on social media and conservative news outlets. The group this month suspended the brewer's Corporate Equality Index score, which ranks companies on their policies for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer employees. Ducaris said the brewer would continue to support organizations with which it's had decades-long relationships, including LGBT rights groups. He drew a distinction between corporate sponsorship and brand marketing. Beer marketing, he said, should focus on broad themes such as sports, music, and connecting people. Addressing criticism that Anheuser-Busch didn't defend Heinerscheid, Ducaris said the company did everything it could to protect those who came under attack, including employees of independent distributors. Ducaris and leaders of the brewer's North American business this month met with wholesalers in St. Louis and presented their turnaround plan. They showed the distributors new special edition Budweiser and Bud Light bottles, highlighting the company's 13-year sponsorship of Folds of Honor, a nonprofit organization that provides scholarships for family members of military veterans and first responders who've been killed or disabled in the line of duty. Previously, the brewer had featured Folds of Honor only in Budweiser packaging. The executives told wholesalers that Bud Light's market share losses had stabilized. Whitworth pledged to get it all back and then some, according to distributors who attended. In interviews with the Journal, several wholesalers said Bud Light sales and market share in their markets were still falling. We're going to have a report on that. It comes out every week. We get to see how much it dropped. It just continues to drop more and more. I don't see them bouncing back because they've changed their customers. The people who drink Bud Light now are not the people who used to drink it before, and there are a lot less of those people. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Do you think they have a chance at turning this brand around? Do you think that this CEO is showing any leadership? He keeps coming up with reasons, he keeps coming up with excuses, but it doesn't feel like he's connecting either with the independent distributors or with the customers or with anybody that was put off by their lack of consideration with this promotion, and also really hasn't explained, why didn't you follow up right away? Why haven't you clearly identified and said, look, we know who made this brand. We know who our customers are. We respect our distributors. We respect our customers. We're going to keep proving that to you every day. We made a big mistake. We will never do that again. But let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Always love to see what you have to say. Please be sure you also subscribe to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up. I will see you again soon with another video. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.